Well, this for sure took a while. Hello everyone and welcome back to AustinTalks, where today we are covering the Ahsoka series, because Ahsoka has finished and we've obviously had 3 weeks for everyone to review it, and here is my official raw review of this series, because it is mental and I just can't wait to get into it. So without further ado, let's just do right that. Now, I would like to clear something up. I did not get this right. When does this actually take place? From the context of the trailers, I was led to believe that this series took place like before A New Hope and like stuff like that. But I was like off by a generation, as I'm led to believe. This series actually takes place before the events of Force Awakens and The Mandalorian, but after the events of Return of the Jedi. The only reason I found this out, and I would have stayed with my own theory, was if I did not actually think about this. The only reason I found this out was because Thrawn mentioned Anakin's demise, otherwise known as his death, and it was also hinted at. And then I actually looked at the timeline of when the Rebels took place, and yeah, I was off. Now, which could still it could obviously be in the context of Anakin became Darth Vader, which is what I also thought. And then he also mentioned Lord Palpatine's demise, so yeah, it's like that was the straw for me. So that's how I kind of knew when it took place, and also when I did research. Yes, I was wrong, unfortunately. I got something wrong, but hey, we all make mistakes, so let's just move on with that. So yeah, that happened. So let's just get back into the video. Now, the opening scene, which we were introduced to the Grey Jedi. This arrival was incredibly terrifying. You can really see the characters and the conflict between light and dark with these characters, which reinforces the idea that they are on both sides. Now, in this context, they do come off as bad characters, but like people throughout this series, they are like bad throughout the series. But this does change, especially at the end. Now, I know we will never see the true complexity of Banan again because of how Rey played him, and there is no replacement. But a Tales of the Jedi sequence would be good in regard to the character, and it's unfortunate what happened with Rey. So, but yeah, I do think his character should live on, but I think it would rather be it'd be better to do it animated, and that's that. Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. So yeah. Now, as you can see, there is no image because I chose a great background. Now, Ahsoka's Force connection and skills are just impeccable. Now, there are many Jedi out there, and have some that still some that are still Jedi, and then some who are outcast, like Ahsoka. So her role isn't exactly unique in the universe, but when you compare her to others, she's just unmatched. She's incredibly talented. Her connection with the Force is like nothing no one's ever seen, because she is the representation of the juxtaposition of the Grey Jedi and then her. You think it would be juxtaposition, but it's not. She isn't exactly a Jedi. She doesn't follow the Jedi Order, which, to be fair, is not the greatest thing either. But she follows her own rules, but she doesn't agree with what the Sith are doing. So she's in the middle. Now, to be fair, the Grey Jedi do lean more towards Sith than actual Jedi. So, but yeah, she is dead in the middle. She is basically a Mandalorian, a Jedi. Well, Force wielder, if you could say. Now, but her skills compared to others are unmatched, which is the reason I think Anakin was actually a really good teacher, as he taught her to be independent, and she wouldn't have had this connection. Well, as I'll get onto this in a little bit, but everyone has a connection with the Force, but and obviously everyone has it, but it needs to be drawn out. And also, her ability with the Force is just impeccable, and I think that this is something that should be constantly reflected, which, to be fair, it kind of is, which was like in Mandalorian and in the Book of Boba Fett. But I do think we need a constant reminder for this character about her skills and incredible independence. Yeah, oh yeah, Ahsoka and Sabine, relationship or friendship, I really don't know what this is. Now, since they're, honestly, I mean, I want to say apprenticeship, but or partnership. Partnership is better. Since their whole mishap with being apprentices and masters to each other, there are new interactions have been really cold and distant at first. Now, I must say that Ahsoka is a hard teacher, but Sabine doesn't actually come off as an enthusiastic apprentice, so it does really even out the odds. I do think Ahsoka is a hard teacher because it's hard for her to trust after the years she's been through, so that makes sense. But it was good to see they're reuniting later on. But unfortunately, Sabine had to go through had to get a really bad injury. But when Sabine was finally ready to be trained, while there was a lot of conflict in the relationship, or partnership is what we're gonna call it now, there is a regular Jedi spark, which invokes their actual friendship, which is quite cool. And you can see the resemblance between the two characters. At the end of Rebels, she cuts off her hair, which is exactly what happens in this. So there is a very good matching in this, which is good. This is what I was referring to. Shin and Sabine have a duel. Now, I like the juxtaposition of this duel because the same can be seen when Ahsoka and Baylan fight, and Shin is the apprentice of Baylan, and Sabine is the apprentice of Ahsoka. So, yes, it is kind of juxtaposition, but so this does really link together. But the scene does reinforce the idea of how powerful Shin is, and how she has been taught compared to Sabine, which hasn't been taught a lot at all. Now, from this duel, there is a lot of things to dig out. But one thing is, what I'm wondering about is, are lightsabers actually still effective? Because she recovered like it was nothing from this. Are they still effective? Because they flippin' don't seem like they're not. Okay, yeah, that's just one thing I wanted to go over. Yep, because Now Rebels, this series, the Rebel series had a lot of callbacks and nostalgia. Now in this series, we got so many callbacks to this Rebel series, which was good, which is what it was based off of. But it wasn't just because of the masses of appearances from then. It was more the lore that was carried over, like Sabine and Ezra's friendship, and Jason and Hera. There were many mentions from the series, like Kanan, the live-action version as well, designed and for the timeline, and it does make sense, but nothing compares to the nostalgia that this series does project. It calls back to Clone Wars, Rebels. It calls back to so many things, which is why I think Rebels is really underrated. When it started off, no, it did not make sense. But it did get so much better. But this series does reinforce that. Yeah, Marok and Ahsoka duel. Marok really did come out of nowhere, and I actually have a theory about that he was the first ever Inquisitor, or the Padawan of Darth Vader, being the Star Killer. A skilled force-sensitive being, so this makes actually a lot of sense. Now, besides the point, it is at this point that she is in many duels. At this point, you realize in this show there's a lot of duels, but I think that actually all of these duels at first build up to a point which I'll get onto later. But I think you already know what I'm talking about. But when she's in many duels, but there's a common theme with all of them. She either wins or comes back, or gets defeated, but comes back for round 2, but 5 times stronger than before. Now there is not much to pick out of this because we have seen this many times in Star Wars, but it is a good reminder how she is skilled and she's experienced in trying to kill other people. Or not trying to kill other people, but her Jedi skills, and she can actually defend herself, which is one thing that was misguided when Anakin was her master. Yeah, when I heard that there was a hyperspace rings type thing, it really made me curious. Now the hyperspace ring battle, this was cool, and the hyperspace ring is very big, and it is very smart, and I have to give it to the Empire at the time when trying to find Thrawn. It was smart. But from that point onwards, it was more of a getaway scheme, and it's not like the vampire, if you ask me, like to just keep constantly start going away. And it also is cool to see Ahsoka's spacesuit and her abilities in space, and that only furthers my point in showing how skilled she is, which I obviously said earlier. I mean, she's going against shooting ships, which are probably double her size, and people actually in them. They're not like drones. They're people. They're controlled, and she was going against with lightsabers. Now that sounds unfair, but I think that this says more about the pilots than Ahsoka. Honestly, like as I said, she's already skilled. We all know that. But as I say, this says more about the pilots than actual Ahsoka. It's just really stupid. Haha, here we go again, another duel. Now, there is no difference between being a bad there is a very big difference between being a bad person and a person with personal morals, which can look different to others, which is exactly what happens with Baylan, and it actually can be seen with this duel. Now, Baylan isn't a bad guy, that's for sure, but Ahsoka was at like a disadvantage, and Baylan just had to win because we wouldn't have seen the majestic view of the world between worlds. The world between worlds looks so cool, by the way. It does look like really cool, but we did get a great, like, I think this duel needed to happen for me personally for nostalgia. I love nostalgia, but we needed this most importantly because my man returned! My boy has returned! Let's go! Yeah, Anakin returned, and I don't think I can stress that enough. And I know I said that I don't like hype stunts, but just let me off with this one. But this one did actually have incredible merit. It made sense, and it was a hype stunt. It made sense, but it was so clearly a hype stunt, but it was so needed. Anakin's my favourite character, then followed by Ahsoka, so yeah. And it does reflect the kind of bond that they have as an apprentice and a master. And it also reflected what was going on in real time. Now, Ahsoka does not, because she was not able to teach. Now, she finally finished her training and became true to what like her master had become. And while this whole episode was like a hype stunt, really, but it does classify it as value to me. It is a clear hype stunt. There's no denying that with the callbacks to Clone Wars and all that. But it does classify as very valued and it's needed. Now, to me, at least. But maybe because they maybe are my two favorite characters of all time in the Star Wars franchise. But, at the end of the day, it was needed. It was a hype stunt, but needed. That's the point I am trying to make. And it may not be a good point. Let me know if you agree with the appearance of this character. Now, I was actually not expecting to see Jason to appear in this series. Now, this was kind of a hype stunt, but he wasn't like that much of a valuable character. But he actually did make sense. Now, he actually played a valuable role, and his connection with the Force is actually truly impeccable, and it was quite impressive. And it also gives more context to what the world between worlds is. And besides the point, his connection with his mother is really cherished as well. Because even though she is extremely committed to being a general, she actually never misses time with Jason, but I also think Jason had to play a part as well, because he had to realize that, like, my mother is a general, right? I need to do stuff by myself, and he has Chopper, so yeah. And she invites him along to go and like help Ahsoka. And to be fair, if Hera didn't do that, they wouldn't have found Ahsoka. Easy. Now, I do really like this relationship because it is a true family, but the references to Rebels were really saddening, like Kanan. That was quite sad, to be fair. yeah, this is what I want to talk about. Which is like, because after what happened with Jason, this is why I'm actually talking about it. Now, the concept of force sensitivity. Now, until the new trilogy, it was believed that the force sensitivity was only in Jedi, but since then, it is now confirmed that everyone is force sensitive. But it works like a scale, that people have it more than others. Which actually does make sense in why Jason has it and Sabine's touch with the force not being as strong as though being taught how to use the force. Now, the concept can also be viewed as everyone the concept can also be reviewed as that everyone has it, but it needs to be drawn out, which is very true for some. I mean, for soldiers, it's not actually drawn out when they're in the academy, unless they went to the Jedi Academy. Now, some may just not be able to drawn out, or they're not actually committed. So it's like working out. As much as it's possible, you need the mentality to do it. So that I guess that does work hand in hand there. So that's actually a perfect metaphor, or simile. I don't actually get that, but oh yes. Now, the significance of the Purrgil. I like the Purrgil. They're whales. I like whales. Now, in this series, it plays this actual significant role in finding both Thrawn and Ezra. But they are so significant in the sense of nostalgia because Sabine mentions that these were there on the day that their disappearance, which was also referenced in the Mandalorian series. Now, which they were on the day of the disappearance, making this adventure all the more meaningful to the both of them. Now, we saw them in Rebels and Mandalorian, and now in this, so I'm actually going to speculate that these things have a bigger role in the Star Wars that they're letting on at the moment. I think maybe when the new trilogy comes around, we'll know more about the lore of the Purrgil, but I do think we need more context. But these will probably make more appearances in the future, and we'll get more context as they come around. But I'm telling you now, these things have a lot more significance than they're letting on. And they're letting on quite a lot of significance, but I do think they're going to have a lot more. Oh, yes, my best part, or my favorite part, that is. Yes, Austin is very happy. Now, all the notable appearances. Now, like other Star Wars series, there are also some notable appearances. And here they are. I know these are hype stunts, kind of, but I don't care. I know they were clearly hype stunts, in the sense of their the characters, but they were so needed. So as I said, we got Jason, we got C-3PO. You can't go wrong with him. You got the Great Mothers, which actually played a plot in the storyline. Since their appearance, so you just kind of wanted to get rid of them. I don't want them there, but yeah, you could. And I actually thought some Dathomir guy was was gonna make an appearance, but no. But Ahsoka. Then we got Padawan Ahsoka from the classic series of Clone Wars, rocking the exact same lightsaber, which was a really good callback. This guy's been making appearances a bit too much, but I've forgotten the guy's name. It's the one that looks like a pilot. I've forgotten the guy's name, but yeah. Oh my god. Oh yeah, but then we got Mon Mothma. She's again been making a load of appearances. Can't say all the good ones. She does kind of bore me. She really does bore me. But then I've put them here because just to signify their significance. But we got Captain Rex in this. We got Captain Rex. The best dude ever. And then we got, obviously, General Skywalker himself rocking the Clone Wars fit. Oh, the nostalgia is killing me. I love the Clone Wars callbacks because they were actually really well put together. But then, to see... I love the I bring this up a lot because there's so much in this series. But when Ahsoka and Anakin / Darth Vader have their fight, they're after their final callback, or finishing training, you can see that Anakin's in his human Jedi form, but holding Darth Vader's lightsaber, which is kind of a juxtaposition considering that was the lightsaber he had when he was Darth Vader, but was still in the same clothes as Anakin. So yes, that kind of does work. But we got Captain Rex. Can we just like talk about that for one moment? We got Captain Rex up in here. Oh yeah, this dude. Yeah, yeah. Thrawn and Captain Enoch. Enoch. I don't know how to say him, but that guy and both of their introductions are very cool. Now, when that dude made an appearance, just his overall tone and lack of facial expression, that is probably due to the mask, but lack of facial expression, made me it actually made me tense up. But the way that they welcome Thrawn, it shows like how much of a how much tyrant like power he has over his own soldiers and like throughout the whole galaxy. Now, he is seen as like basically a god to a lot of people in that galaxy, including these people. And even though he has no weapons of some sort, he has no force abilities. No, he's literally. So Palpatine didn't use a lightsaber. He used it once and failed. He had lightning. This guy does not have any. He had a good connection with the Force. This guy does not have any. He's basically Palpatine. He's old. He's basically Palpatine with no powers. Easy and such. But his power over soldiers and other factions and like the Night Sisters and the Great Mothers was truly terrifying, and I think that was more power than this guy needed. And also his face, he's got piercing red eyes. Literally, you think what's the animal with the red eyes? Anyone know of animal with red eyes? So there's a red light on my microphone from when I talk. That is the exact same color as this guy's eyes, but then he's got blue skin. He's got blue skin. It's like that look. I mean, it's the eyes that get me. It's terrifying. But like his right hand man's no better. But his arrival was very much foreshadowed. But his acts were also most certainly not suspected. I mean, we knew what he was going to do. He was obviously the big bad of the series, but his actions were just a bit over the top. I'm not gonna lie. But we also got my boy Ezra back. This should have been another significant, this should be another significant, what's the word, indicator that this took place years after, New Hope. But anyway, now Ezra has returned, everyone. Along with Thrawn, we got another callback to the Rebel series, which was Ezra's Return. We knew he was going to be in the series, but the way that he was introduced brought like such a sense of nostalgia. It was like, hello old friend. It was like an Obi-Wan reference. Now, I also liked where he lived. I love those little guys. I loved how the Sabine just followed them. But people said it was a dangerous place. I don't know what you mean. I mean, yeah, don't be so close to the tower. Easy enough. I loved where Ezra was staying. Now, but I would have loved to live with those little turtle things. They were like, yeah, I want them. I want those turtle things. They actually seem like such good friends. Now, another way to understand the timeline is, as I say, how much older he looks. And there is no doubt about that one. I'm not going to live that down to myself. I got the storyline wrong. No, Austin, no, you got the storyline wrong. How could you do such a thing? Yeah, but those turtle things actually look so cool. So, but he has returned, and he definitely made his Ezra statement like he did in the Rebel series with, I think was this? Yeah, when Ezra and Sabina, I knew I spelt it wrong. So when I was writing this video, when I was writing bits of the video, I noticed I was writing Sabina when I should have been writing Sabine, and I looked through the whole thing to see if I'd to try and change it. I can't believe the one with the big lettering is the one I missed. Now, I mean, I know that Shin technically has more experience at the time, especially against Sabine, but with Ezra, it was just not gonna happen, and it does reflect how much she has been taught compared to to both of them, which also shows how much Balin hasn't taught her in the sense of self-defense. I mean, there's a time to fight, then there's a time to flee. This was a time to flee. But I guess that's kind of what happens when you're a Sith. All you think you can kill anyone. But it was also really funny when like Ahsoka came in and like she was still tired, tired. She's still like Ahsoka comes in and goes, "Hello there." Like she pulled an Obi-Wan, and then she still tried, but this was so funny, and yet once again she failed. What a damn surprise. Yeah, I thought this was quite funny, yet just a tiny bit stupid. The final battle. Yes. Now, the power of the Great Mothers and the Night Sisters are very weird and creepy. But the creepiest is the fact that they were able to bring back soldiers who were slaughtered with lightsabers, and made them into zombies. Fun. Now, it was good to see them get through the horde of zombies, but then at the end of the day, Thrawn got away, which was not the plan by any means, that's for sure. Now, the final battle really did start in the previous episode when they encountered Ezra, but that was that was a founding point, not the actual main complement. Yeah, that was not the main compliment of the episode. It was more to just get rid of these dudes. But yeah, the final battle, as much as they didn't get away, it still held quite good, and I do like the designs of these soldiers compared to the other ones. So yeah. Now, the overall ending was actually really nice and sweet. Now, and the way that Thrawn left was actually unusually quick. I mean, this was not the sweet part, but it left unusually quick, as if like he never wanted to actually fight Ahsoka face to face, because his and her story was not over yet. Now, besides that, Ezra was finally able to reunite with Hera and Chopper being his best mate, which would mean a lot to Rebel fans, but also we got a little nod back to Return of the Jedi, with an Anakin's ghost looking over both Sabine and Ahsoka like he did with Luke in the Return of the Jedi. Now, showing however he turned evil, in his own heart he still remained a hero and he redeemed himself. That heroic part of himself still came out, which I think which was actually shown kind of in Obi-Wan. As much as he was portrayed as the main villain, he still was shown as some sort of symbol of hope for Obi-Wan, who ended up killing him. So I want to say there was a silver lining, but yeah, I'm really trying here. Now, is there a chance of a season 2? Good question. Now, honestly, this series did really have a conclusive ending, to be fair, but I'm not sure that what would happen next, because it was supposed to revolve around the Rebels, Thrawn, and Ahsoka, which I think is pretty over and done with right now. But the best way to continue with Thrawn's story would be a better idea to continue in The Mandalorian, probably with the best idea, to be honest. Now, after the success of the first, there has already been talks of a second season, but I guess we shall just wait up to see what they whip up. I do think they actually will do a season 2. As much as I don't want them to, this did end up conclusively, and I do think Mandalorian season 4 is where this whole Thrawn and Ahsoka conflict should be where it ends. Great story for that, but I don't think that this is a good idea. But honestly, I'm open to be proven wrong. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait. Now, series rating? Yep, 9 out of 10. Easier than that. Now, this series, like others, can have some work. Easy enough. Now, I would love Ahsoka. I love Ahsoka's character, as I've said, in the Star Wars universe, and her arc was really good. But the series really didn't focus on her as much as it should have. It didn't revolve around the Rebels and Thrawn, to be fair. And I'm not expecting every episode to be revolving around Ahsoka. Obviously, you need a bit of variety, but it was more a Sabine, Ezra, and Thrawn show, which isn't what it actually should be, which I think is where they kind of flopped. As much as they wanted to even it out, the scales were tipped slightly. But nonetheless, it was still a good show. It was what I expected. And I enjoyed every bit of it. But I mean, yeah, there was a bit of others, but I did enjoy it. There is no doubt about that. Now, fan theories, please find. Oh yes. Oh yeah, this is where we got the theory from. Now, Morak is actually Starkiller, and this can easily be proven. Okay, if we look at the costumes of both characters, they are almost identical, but they still doesn't explain the Inquisitor lightsaber. Starkiller was the first apprentice of Darth Vader, so were the Inquisitors. So making Starkiller one of the leading or rogue ones would be nothing but a no-brainer. Yeah, yeah, that actually makes sense. Now there is, but how would he still be alive? What? I mean, to be fair, he never died, so I guess that could make sense. There is a reason that Thrawn left, and it was go and help form the First Order. The timeline of the series at Mandalorian Season 4 would be around the first time the First Order was created. Mandalorian Season 4, which seems to be the last, will consist of an episode revealing the First Order's origin and the takedown of Thrawn. But it would also make sense to reveal that Thrawn knew about Palpatine's survival. That'd just be a really packed season. But not much Mandalorian, to be fair. But no, I think that's actually a good series. I don't think it would be like less Mandalorian, more First Order, but yeah. Now the next season of the Tales of the Jedi will consist of 2 stories, one of which will link to this story. In the end, we see Bane and Skull looking through the lands in which Morai, the Sun, and Mortis used to rule, and I think that Balin will be shown to have a connection to that faction of people. Okay, I'm not ranking any of these because I love them all. That actually makes sense. I want the Mandalorian Season 4 to be true. And the Starkiller one, now that you think about it, it does make sense. All of these have actual really good merits, so I'm not going to make a decision because they are actually all so good. Right, well everyone, that'll be the end of today's video. I love that show. Honestly, I recommend anyone to go and watch it if you're a Star Wars fan and you're a Clone Wars fan and you like Star Rebels. Honestly, just go and watch it if you like Star Wars. So yeah. Now, if you did enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe and comment what else you would like to see on the channel. And if you did if you have watched the series, please comment below what your thoughts are on it. Now everyone, I hope you do all have a great day, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.